Good morning, my loves. Happy Friday. Tim in the woods, and it's raining. I love coming out at this time of year and getting wrapped up, hat on, raincoat. We've got a storm coming through. I don't think it's going to be affecting us in the deep south as much as it is up in the north, but nevertheless we're getting rain. And it was funny, I was out here yesterday just kind of snuffling around, I suppose, and a lot of you might have noticed, especially if you live in the UK, there's an abundance of acorns. Initially I thought that this abundance of tree fruit was due to the fact that the trees know that it's going to be a hard winter. In the UK, for those of you that live here and know England, and you will understand that most of our winters are like this: grey, wet, might be a little bit chilly for now and then, mostly windy, but we rarely get the ice and the snow that the Scandinavian countries enjoy or tolerate. And this year I've got a feeling that we're going to get a big blast of it. And I was thinking, the trees, you know, they're extra fruiting or acorning or doing whatever because they can tell. And apparently it's a mast year. Okay, this isn't going to be a nature presentation. It's just simply a nugget that I found out yesterday, which I thought was really cool. A mast year is when a tree, in its infinite wisdom, communicating with all the other trees on the tree network, decide that they are going to massively overproduce, say, their acorns, and completely go full bore, like full overkill on the acorns on the ground. And the whole idea is to overwhelm the squirrel population, who are at the moment gathering all of the acorns for the long dark winter. And so even with all of their best efforts, they cannot get all of these acorns. And so therefore, a majority of the ones that have fallen go into the ground, they survive, and the tree reproduces, which I think is really clever. I didn't know that either. That was just a piece of information that I stumbled across yesterday. Thought I'd share it with you. If you're wondering why there's so much going on with the trees at the moment, and sounds like an aerial bombardment whenever you're stood near an oak tree in England, that's why. So anyway, onwards. I want to talk about our bodies at the moment, because I generally tend to present from personal experience. Whatever I'm going through tends to be reflected in the field, and I'm not going to use the word issues, but I've had my body reflecting and bringing my attention to energies and circumstances within and things that are going on. I've been going through a quite considerable detox. Began in the throat and kind of went downhill to the lungs. It's kind of gone all around my body and is still hanging on in there. And it always makes me wonder, or simply get to the point where I ask the question. We've been advised and trained and guided to listen to our bodies, communicate with our bodies, love our bodies, speak to our bodies for years now. It's something that we were definitely encouraged not to do in the third dimension, and to hand our power over to others who would then make decisions and cure us of our ills. We all know what that industry is. I don't need to mention any names or kind of get any flags up, but so the onus is upon us to take sovereign, responsible decisions for our own physical, mental, emotional and spiritual well-being, without handing it out, offsetting it to other people who simply don't have our best interests at heart. And it's all part of our mastery, part of our sovereignty, what we're being asked to do, taking responsibility for ourselves. So we've got this incredible picture going on at the moment. I find it really interesting. It's these kind of circumstances that there's always an initial trigger. I mean, I've spoke about this on Wednesday in my WAGS group. This kind of collective circumstance where we're being presented by the increased oppression, surveillance, the rolling out of digital this and digital that particularly in the UK, always appears to be the focus point here. And I'm always aware of how these circumstances initially react with me. I mean, I'm human. I'm as human as you are and everybody else out there, regardless of what or who I was in a previous life, regardless of the spiritual training. At the end of the day, I'm a human being with human responses, with triggers that exist within my system that are currently being revealed for me to observe, to alchemize and to deal with. And I'm having a very physical response to what is going on around me. That's by the by. It's when we have knowledge of the spiritual world, the circumstances that are going on around us, it doesn't necessarily make it any easier when we have that experience, but knowledge is power. So we can then move into a space where we begin the self-healing process. Gone are the days now of 3D where things happen to us and we simply pulled the victim card out and went, oh, woe is me, this is happening to me, it's simply not my fault, and you outsource the blame to circumstances going on around you. But I am fully aware of the fact that anything that is going on within my body, anything that I've taken in, anything that I've thought, anything that I've perceived, is fully and completely my responsibility to deal with. And I believe that is why the actions of the Matrix are becoming so intense, because they are aware of the fact that the majority of people, even those that are beginning their awakening process, haven't yet taken that responsibility. And that is reflected in all of our bodies. I'm aware of many people experiencing physical symptoms. And I was thinking about this last night. As I was looking at my body. And suddenly the phrase chasing the pain came through to me. Now, I read this in a cool book years ago, Chasing the Pain. When you're not actually dealing with something that needs dealing with, you kind of like skim over the surface of what it is within the body, maybe have a little bit of healing, maybe do a little bit of this, kind of dive into it semi-deeply, and then you get bored and you go on to something else, and all of a sudden the pain moves from one part of the body to the next, and it will keep on doing that. It's almost like you chase it around the body. And I can really feel this going on within my body at the moment. It's moving from different part of me, asking to be seen, asking to be healed, asking to be acknowledged. And it's almost like whack-a-mole. It's like 1 minute it pops up somewhere, it's like, boff, got ya, and then it comes up somewhere else. So I'm very, very aware of how these external circumstances are reacting with me, and how it is my responsibility to deal with those triggers. And it inspired me to bring out another workshop which will be coming up soon, which is dealing with the triggers, or dealing with the power that we handed away or was stripped from us during the fall of Atlantis. So watch this space, as I'm not using this as a space to shamelessly plug my stuff, but it will be coming up soon, and it will be something that I thoroughly enjoy diving into. Might sound or feel a little bit deep, dark and grimy, but that's kind of where we are energetically at the moment. We are witnessing the intensity of the shadows of the fall of Atlantis as they are in in full kind of visibility in the world around us where they weren't visible or acknowledged previously. And it creates a physical response within us. The energies coming in create a physical response. How many of you have seen the beautiful display of northern lights recently as the sun speaks yet again? There's so much going on that maybe we get kind of lost in the details of how much is actually coming in and how much it is that we're actually perceiving, receiving and dealing with in any given moment. And it can be all consuming. It can be overwhelming to the point where we just kind of almost go into a trauma freeze and shut down, because it's akin to a sensory overload. And I've felt that too, particularly in the last week, like that sensory overload where it's just like, it's all a little bit too much. I'm just going out in the woods. And that's where the healing lies. So listening to the rain this morning, listening to the acorns cascade down, the birds as they begin their autumn song, but most importantly, feeling the presence of the elementals around me, feeling the organic and the natural world. And for those of you that have the ability to get out there and to do this, take that opportunity. It's I've spoken probably numerous times in my previous videos about the power of the elemental kingdom. Everything around us that is organic, everything around us that has that natural frequency, that fifth dimensional vibration, the frequency of the songbirds, the sound of the rain, the feel of the rain, the wind that blows through, the feel of just simply being out in nature, allowing yourself to come online and just being aware of how much this nourishes and feeds and basically helps your body in any given moment. So although it's wet, it's actually quite warm. I've got quite a lot of warm clothes on as well. So chasing the pain. If we don't deal with something, if it's coming up for us and we're not dealing with it, we're not acknowledging it correctly, or we're not taking the time that this particular revelation needs, it will move from part to part of the body. It's the same as addictions. In many cases, all of us are addicted to something, okay? Even if it's the concept of spirituality itself. Human beings in their coping mechanisms, particularly after being presented with what we've been presented with for the last 5 years, have moved into many different trauma responses. And one of those that comes up very regularly is addictions. Could be nicotine, could be coffee, could be alcohol, could be going out and having fun, it could be collecting crystals. Something that you almost hyper focus upon and find it difficult to break that cycle or that pattern of behaviour because it feeds a necessity within you. That in itself, I've noticed those patterns coming up within me as well, but also very much this response to the circumstances around me. Allow yourself the time to heal at the moment, okay? I know as human beings, it's difficult to unplug from the circumstances that are being presented. I've seen this reflected in the comments on my posts, whether they're shorts or whether they're videos or whether they're direct communications between me and people who've got in touch. The pressure is on. Okay, the pressure is on for us at this stage of evolution. The sun flares alone are enough to create deeply physical triggers within us. When the sun speaks, that's how I perceive it. The sun speaks, it doesn't just kind of blast out photonic radiation because it's malicious and it damn well feels like it, or it has no concept of what it's doing. It's almost like someone presses certain buttons in the control room and a dose of light comes out in the form of physical photonic radiation that we receive, we perceive, and actually has a profound effect on changing the DNA structure within us. It's triggering the awakening. It's triggering the actual, it's triggering the forward movement within us, but we're also being bathed in a very particular and specific astrological alignment. The one that always interests me, probably because it affects me the most, is the transit of Saturn, and the way that the Saturn tests particularly have been lined up for me in the last 3 or 4 years or so. Saturn has currently retrograded into Pisces, and that is revisiting the difficult things that we didn't deal with the last time. Okay, so if you were going through a test in the last year or 2 years or maybe even 3 years or so, and you kind of like skated through it, oh my god, I just about survived that, and then moved into the next phase, what this does is it puts you back in those scenarios, those situations, or that emotional field again, so that you can dot the I's and cross the T's. But I have a distinct, I'm usually pretty spot on with this, that the powers that were also know what the astrological alignments are doing. Okay, they know where the planets are, what the planets represent on a 3D level, and how to almost piggyback the energies that are coming in. So I feel this pocket of revisiting that deeply uncomfortable psychic area, the Saturn in Pisces, where it affects us psychologically, it affects us emotionally. The waters of Pisces run very, very deep. It's our dream state, it's the astral, it's the construction of all of the things within our subconscious that have an effect on what we do, think, speak, and act upon in our real life. All of that is being hyper focused upon at the moment, and we can feel it within our bodies. So take a few moments today, if this video is resonating with you, and you are aware of your physical body at the moment, and what your physical body is doing, what your emotional body is doing, how that is reflecting into your physical body, what your mental state is. Okay, how are you mentally responding to the stimuli that is being presented to you in the outside world? Are you overwhelmed? Are you doom scrolling on Facebook to see what's going on? Are you being algorithmically challenged by, say, YouTube? You want to click on something nice and you're presented with a load of stuff which you know you shouldn't be watching because it has a response with you, but you click on it anyway because you want to know what's going on. You want to know how other people are responding to it. That's our responsibility. Okay, if we're doing that, if we're sharing the message, if we're doom scrolling, if we're diving into that field, if we're allowing us to participate in that energy exchange and using the currency of our energy, that is where we are going to be feeling the chinks in our armour. Where do we go with this? This is the question that I ask. Our mission at the moment is to focus on us, creating the perfect light worker, unshakable in our light, the unquenchable flame. And many of us are feeling like we're kind of like walking uphill, and there's no end in sight. There's no crest, there's no top of the hill. Keep going, keep going, keep focusing on your light, that fire within, that mighty I am presence. Everything that we are experiencing at the moment is it's distorted for a reason. Okay, it's distorted so that we can see our own shadows, so that we can chase the pain around the body until we find the cause of it, the source of it, the true heart of it, because there will always be the final source of it somewhere. locked within, deep within our subconscious, deep within what we've experienced, maybe within the karma that we've brought through, the shared experiences, the individual experiences, whatever we've got coming through at the moment, it's important to look at, or we wouldn't be feeling it and experiencing it. And if you're having a physical reaction, if your body is detoxing, then listen to your body. It always, there's this myth that I hear the words all the time, like flu season comes about and everybody immediately goes, well, it's the kids going back to school, it's this, that, is there's all of these exterior reasons for it. Our bodies naturally detox when the seasons change. So when it goes from winter to spring, or from summer to autumn, and the seasons change, our bodies sense that and automatically begin to adjust, to detox, to get rid of the things that we don't need. And one of the things that we don't need is a saturation of emotional energy that in many cases doesn't belong to us, or we've allowed ourselves to kind of move into, and then for whatever reasons we've been unable to release it, or to deal with it, or to look at it comfortably. So my loves, that's my transmission, that's my message today. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself down in the woods here, and onwards and upwards. It's going to be a very interesting month. I think this is again, it's down to us to see, to really feel into what we're being presented with and listen to your body. If you have to, follow that pain until you find the source. That's what I've been guided to do anyway. Love you lots. Talk to you soon. Bye.